You know what's wild? The most powerful financial revolution of the 21st century started with a PDF, just 9 pages, published in 2008 by someone, or something, called Satoshi Nakamoto. No corporate logo, no marketing campaign, no Silicon Valley launch event, just an idea. An idea so radical, it didn't just challenge banks, it challenged the very concept of trust. This is the story and the philosophy behind the Bitcoin whitepaper. Not just how it works, but why it was written, what it represents, and why its message still echoes louder than ever. Because beneath the cryptography and code, it isn't just a technical manual, it's a declaration, a blueprint for a world where integrity is enforced by math, not men. It's late 2008. The global financial system is in free fall. Investment giants collapse overnight. Governments rush to bail out the same institutions that caused the crisis. People lose homes, jobs, and faith. All at once, the illusion of stability cracks. And in the middle of that storm, a message appears quietly on a small cryptography mailing list. Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. No credentials, no authority, just words and code. It begins with a sentence that sounds technical, but it's a philosophical earthquake. A purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. That's it, just one line. But behind that simplicity hides a rebellion against centralization, against blind trust, against dependence. For centuries, money has relied on intermediaries, banks, mints, and governments to validate its worth. Satoshi flipped the script. What if we didn't need to trust anyone? What if we could build a system where truth was automatic? Where proof replaced promises? That's where Bitcoin's beating heart emerges. Proof of work. Proof of work is the mechanism that says, no human decides what's true. Computation does. Miners around the world compete to solve cryptographic puzzles using real energy and effort. The solution they find becomes a seal of authenticity. Each solved block adds to a chain that no one can fake, no one can alter, and no one can own. To rewrite Bitcoin's history, you'd need to outcompute the entire planet, an impossible mountain of math. Bitcoin turned energy into honesty. It's not faith-based, it's physics-based. It's digital trust, built on verifiable cost. In an age where deepfakes rewrite reality, where algorithms distort truth, and where news cycles are engineered for outrage, that concept feels prophetic. Proof of work isn't just a technical solution, it's a moral framework. It makes cheating expensive and truth unforgeable. No one can bribe math, no one can fake computation. That's the philosophical spine of Bitcoin. Trustless consensus. A system that doesn't ask us to be good, but makes dishonesty too costly to pursue. But the genius of Satoshi Nakamoto wasn't only in the math. It was in the disappearance. They didn't just build a system without banks. They built one without themselves. Satoshi's anonymity isn't a gimmick. It's the first act of decentralization. They removed the founder before anyone could worship them. Because the moment you have a face, you have a hierarchy. And where there's hierarchy, there's control. By walking away, Satoshi made sure no single person could hijack Bitcoin's narrative. No CEO to subpoena, no leader to corrupt, no throne to seize. And that act, that quiet vanishing, was a message written in absence. Power belongs to the protocol, not the person. In a world obsessed with influence, Satoshi's greatest statement was silence. And in that silence, Bitcoin became immortal. Now contrast that with fiat money, the system most people live under today. Fiat means by decree. It's money because the government says so. It's backed not by scarcity, not by work, but by authority. You trust that your central bank won't print your savings away. You trust that your government won't freeze your account. You trust that your wages tomorrow will mean what they mean today. But that trust keeps breaking. Currencies devalue, accounts are censored. Inflation eats savings while wages stagnate. The promise of stability becomes a cycle of dependency. Satoshi looked at that and asked, what if we built money that runs on rules, not rulers? A system where no one could rewrite the supply, where every coin is accounted for, where every participant plays by the same algorithmic law. That's Bitcoin, not a company, not a brand, but a network of verifiable fairness. The white paper didn't just launch a currency, it launched a philosophy, a belief that transparency beats authority, that open systems outlast closed ones. It's the same ethos that drives open source communities today. From developers who build free software, to scientists demanding open data, to journalists exposing truth through verifiable leaks. When Satoshi published that paper, they joined a lineage of thinkers who believed truth should not be owned, it should be shared. Like Tim Berners-Lee creating the World Wide Web without a patent. Like whistleblowers revealing hidden corruption in the name of accountability. Like activists encrypting communication to protect speech in a surveillance age. The Bitcoin white paper belongs to that same tradition. Freedom through transparency. And it was right on time, because the 21st century isn't just an age of technology, it's an age of trust erosion. We live in a world where institutions control the narrative. From what you see in your feed to what you hold in your wallet, social media distorts truth for engagement. Corporations harvest your data in exchange for convenience. Governments surveil in the name of safety. We don't just live in an attention economy, we live in a trust crisis. Every year, confidence in media, banks, and politics sinks lower. But through it all, Bitcoin continues, producing blocks, verifying transactions, enforcing its rules. No press release, no PR crisis, no CEO statement, just math. 15 years later, Bitcoin remains the most transparent, accountable financial system ever created, one where the rules are public and the record is permanent. While traditional finance hides losses, Bitcoin's ledger exposes everything, every block, every coin, every rule. And maybe that's why it's misunderstood, because Bitcoin isn't polite. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't bend. It just keeps doing what it was designed to do, tell the truth. As we move into a world of programmable money and artificial intelligence, Satoshi's white paper feels less like history and more like foresight. AI now generates news, art, and even human likeness. But who verifies the truth? Deepfakes blur identity. Data manipulation shapes elections. In that chaos, Bitcoin stands out, not as a financial tool, but as a proof system, a foundation for digital integrity in a post-truth world where fiat systems depend on reputation. Bitcoin depends on replication. Where politicians amend reality, the blockchain refuses to forget its incorruptible memory, a digital conscience for an age drowning in misinformation. And as governments experiment with central bank digital currencies, programmable money that can track, restrict, or expire, Bitcoin's contrast becomes impossible to ignore. One system asks for obedience, the other invites verification. Bitcoin is the first financial system that doesn't require faith. It doesn't need you to believe. It needs you to check. So what was Satoshi's greatest idea? Was it the code, the economics, the anonymity? Or maybe it was something simpler, the belief that we could build a system so honest it wouldn't need to be trusted, a network that rewards truth by default, a ledger that cannot lie, a design that makes corruption impossible by computation. Because in the end, the Bitcoin white paper wasn't just 9 pages of code. It was a moral statement disguised as math. Proof that in the digital age, freedom doesn't come from law. It comes from logic. The paradox Satoshi left us with is this: the most human invention of our time was the one that no longer needed humans to trust. Bitcoin's true innovation wasn't digital cash, it was digital truth. And in a world built on illusion, that might be the most revolutionary idea of all.